Hallo iedereen, welkom bij de Q&A met Maura Delpero, de regisseur van Maternal. Ik ga nu enkele vragen stellen over deze film. Hi Maura, I hope you're doing fine. I'm very happy we can talk about your film. You're in Argentina, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great. My first question was, the original title of the film is Hogar. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong in Spanish. But could you tell us something more about what this word means?
I love that title because it has a double meaning, or at least double. It has a lot of meanings, but it means something. It's a precise place because it's like there are a lot of hogares, hogar for children, hogar for old people, and it's like it's known as a place where you can host people. But then it is also what the English people would call home instead of house.
Yeah.
The difference, or like there's difference in Germany too. In Italy, we don't have this difference, which is kind of a poorness of Italian language. We just have houses. But it was important for me because hogar, it's the place where you feel home, or at least you should feel home. And it's interesting for me because this house is it's like a parenthesis in the life of these people. Maybe it's not the place where you feel home, but you are trying to feel home there. So I think that title had a lot of ambiguities I liked.
Yes, it's a very nice touch to the English word, which is maternal, the English title. But I was wondering what inspired you to make this film? Why were you attracted to this subject of the young women going to the monastery with their children?
At the very beginning, it wasn't there wasn't a plot initially. There was more desire, a very personal and intimate desire to question about maternity, and in particular about the complexity of maternity. I needed to do a film to explore the complexity of maternity because I felt maternity is complex, and I kind of felt in our societies we do not explore a lot its complexity. It's kind of like I wouldn't say a taboo subject, but in a way we always like prefer to see some beautiful blonde baby in advertising, and that's it. And that what happened in real life to me and to my friends, it was that when we talked about maternity, it was much more complex. So I needed to explore this, and I was naturally attracted by maternity that were more complex in itself, like the motherhood of teenagers, because there's a big contradiction there now between a body that's still growing and and a mother growing in this body. So it happened to me because I'm also a teacher, and it happened to be that in one of my students got pregnant, and she was very young, and this was a big emotion to me to watch her during the whole year changing and living this double emotion. And I was like asking myself what she was experiencing. So I began to research about teen motherhood, and then then I began to work in these hogares.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of my way of working. I always do a lot of research. So my idea was to go work in hogares, and
Right.
I offered cinema workshops to the young moms. So I got to know them very well and the place very well, and I could stay there a lot, and like leave the atmosphere and the
Mm-hmm.
mood and all the five senses of the place. That was very interesting and creative. And in a religious agar, I began to think about the fact that there was another paradox. There wasn't just the paradox of being a teen and a mom, but there was also the paradox of these sisters that cannot be mothers
Mm-hmm.
living among this motherhood. And I began to see that it was more complex, even more complex. So that was the end of the process. But I would say, to go back to what I was saying, is that both maternities, the teen one and the sisters one, the absent sisters one, both were for me an extreme excuse to talk about the complexity of maternity in general. I mean, the one quite every woman feels.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is a. I also noticed this in the movie, that this is a film about a world without fathers. There are only mothers, and the relationships between daughters and mothers, especially, is very complex. You see it with Lou and the little Nina, but also with Fatih, who seems to have a complex relationship with her mother, but it stays a bit flu. Um, was it uh, was it on purpose that you decide to leave the fathers out of the picture?
It was inspired by reality.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's a lot of documentaristic inspiration in the film. Um, Fathers are not there. I mean, it is very difficult for a girl to accept her maternity, such a precocious maternity, but she doesn't have any choice, because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, she had any choice until 2 months ago, because the abortion law was accepted in Argentina 2 months ago for the first time. So when I wrote the film, there was no option. But for the fathers, there was the option of
Mm-hmm.
going away, and that's what they normally did, because you can understand it, because they're children themselves,
Mm-hmm.
as the girls. So what normally happened, that they didn't take the responsibility of their fatherhood. So it's a world of lonely women,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that also interested me, that it was a world of lonely women on both sides, because also sisters are lonely. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they are married to Christ, so but it's also like an absent figure. I mean, at the same level, at the same time, it's this the males are absent and are present, are always
Yes.
present, like and like, like an off, a very present off, because all those big bellies have father, and also religion is very masculine. And
Mm-hmm.
so in a way, it was interesting for me that it was such a particular word, like a huiclo, like a very radical, closed world, but at the same time there was a big off
Mm-hmm.
you're always referring to. And also that was a decision for me to keep Lou's boyfriend out of
Yes.
the screen, because I asked myself, well, should I follow her and see the boy, and at the very beginning, but then I was sure I wouldn't, for two reasons. The first reason was that I wanted a radical experience for the viewer, the radical experience of being there and not being allowed to go out as the girls, like to really leave this enclosure place,
Mm-hmm.
protection, but also enclosure place. And the second reason was that I wanted really to focus on the girls' emotions, and also on their like strange desires. What does it mean, and what does it tell us about our society, the desire for a man that beats you? What does it tell us about the construction of female desire in our
Mm-hmm.
society? So if I had followed him, we would be distracted by him and what happened. It's not important. It's just one more bad choice for her. Like
Mm-hmm.
it, just wanted to stay with them and with their feelings and with their choices and with their choices that are not choices. They are
Mm-hmm.
the, so so it's like this. It's a female world, and
Yes.
of course, it's a big off.
Yeah, and when Lou returns to the monastery, the first pair of eyes her eyes meet are the eyes of Sister Paula. In this moment, it looks like these two women are enemies or opponents. But then when we see Lou's face, we realize that the real enemy is outside of the monastery, outside in the other world, and that he's a man. I thought this also told me a lot about how we watch women and female characters in film. That I thought, whoa, these women are battling over a child, but it's not the two women that are battling. It's the women that are battling with the outside world. I felt like.
And if you watch the very final, not the very final scene, but the quite a very final scene when Sister Paula gives back the child
Mm-hmm.
to Lou, the tension between the two of them is not anymore a battle
Mm-hmm.
tension. It's more like a recognition tension. Like, I know, I know. In a way, we both are women that are like dealing with their intimate wounds.
Yes.
So there's kind of not a peace, but in a way like a respect,
Yeah.
and no one is right or wrong. In a way, they are
No.
both imperfect mothers in a
Mm-hmm.
way, or like, like people that are struggling with their internal struggle between desire and responsibility, or between two loves, or like, so I love them because they're human, because, and also because they are more similar. At the end, they are more similar to what we thought, or we could suspect they were, because in a way you think, okay, she's a sister, she's the authority, she's the one who's right, and the other, she's like a bad girl. And at the beginning the sister is like, like all with her clothes pure, and the other one is like she's going out with her very short skirt, and at the end they are more similar, because also Sister Paula was a transgressor in a way. She
Mm-hmm.
also followed her passion in a way. So that interested me, to have humanity and women that are just trying to understand their and live inside the complexity of maternity and all the different tensions that
Mm-hmm.
they give you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought this moment of recognition between these two women was very beautiful. And I felt like they also recognized in each other that they both were just looking for love and for some kind of physical touch as well. Um, and I think this will resonate with a lot of people. Now we're back in lockdown in Belgium. The need for physical touch. And when Sister Paula is hugging, when they fall asleep, when Sister Paula and Nina fall asleep together, completely entangled, and when Lou is looking for physical touch on the outside, when she says that she met her boyfriend and they fucked in the train station, and then she comes back and he has beaten her up. Um, uh, could you tell us something more about this quest?
It is a film about bodies, of
Mm-hmm.
course, like bodies that give nurture, bodies that desire, bodies that need love, bodies that are still growing, bodies that are completely neglected, or bodies that are used to seduct the world. That was very interesting for me. The so many levels, layers of the physical situation, and it was also interesting for me. You were like talking about the scene in which Sister Paula and Nina sleep together. um, I think it was interesting for me to go there, because in a way it was really in Sister Paula's journey, it was interesting because her her object of desire, her attraction, is not a man. If it was a man, if it were a man, she would have protected herself. You know, like maybe she was desiring a man, and if the man wants to go in her bed, she would have said, no, no, I can't, I desire, but I can't. But if it's a little girl that needs protection, of course you say, okay, come in. But still, then it's a physical relation. Still, those two women slept together, and they had a physical emotion, and this changes you completely as a human being.
Yes.
So in a way, for her, is like going deep into her crisis without protection. That was very important for me, because in a way, like, sisters have a protection thanks to their clothes, uniforms, and then in a way she was completely naked, and that's why also, why we get to know her and her hair through the eyes of a child, you know, like it's I and also I worked on her, like she begins like very white and pale, and then she gets a little red, and we worked a little bit with makeup, and you know, like it's a lot about body, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, when the other sisters see that Sister Paula hugs and kisses little Nina, it's like they've seen the Holy Spirit himself. They are very shocked. Is it because of this physical touch, or is it because they notice that Sister Paula is acting like a mother, a real mother, and not just a spiritual one?
Yeah, you're right. There's that moment too is important for Buddy, because not because of sin, of course, but because overall the you know, the mother superior, she knows there's a danger there. She's 80, and she's seen a lot of young sisters. She knows there's a danger there. Then there's like so there's this danger of young nuns, that it happened. I mean, during my research, I was looking to find real experiences, and of course, I found a lot of nuns that entered the convent so young that they still didn't question themselves about maternity. Maybe they questioned themselves about erotic relationships, and they decided to renounce them, but they didn't experience the desire for a child, and then they discovered it late and so they go out of the convent. So in a way, there's this thing of this mother superior, who in a way she's like also a director, like a manager of you know, like a of an enterprise that has to work well, so she cannot lose a sheep. But then there's also a more general situation about social work, which is very interesting and very difficult. Social workers, not just religious one, always have to deal with the problem of distance. What is the right distance to help people? Is it that if I go very near, it's always better? I mean, I'm really helping more, or am I provoking a worse problem? Because one could tell you, okay, but if you go so near, you will confuse her. She will think you're her mother, and maybe she will get confused with her biological mother. So it's always a tricky problem, or at least a demanding thing a social worker have to deal with.
Yes, another thing I wondered, I feel like in the film we're very close to Maura, but we're also Maura. Sorry, you're Maura. we're, very, yeah, we're very close to you too, I guess. What I was trying to say, we're very close to Sister Paula and very close to Lou. But I still feel like you decided to tell this story through the eyes of Fatih. Why did you decide to do this?
But It was a very difficult character for me. Still, it was very important. I always loved her a lot. There were instances of scripts writing in which they advised me to take her away, and I was like, no, why? But it's a difficult character because she has an interior struggle.
Mhm.
Like it's easier to write and shoot characters that have an external enemy or desires. Or Fatih is someone who is trying to to have a better relationship with her own maternity. So it's really intimate. And also there was a problem of her past that it was important, but at the same time, I really wanted to be very delicate about it. So it was all like very millimetrical.
Mhm.
At the same time, I think she's very important, and you kind of have the sensation that she's there to guide the whole process, because in a way she's necessary also to Lou, and because to me it's a film about relationships.
Mhm.
So every character influences the other, and what happens to Lou influences Sister Paula, and what happens to Sister Paula influences Fatih, because the coming of Sister Paula in the convent changes Fatih, and the going out of Lou from the convent changes Sister Paula because she makes her discover. So it was important for me to have like multiple characters relating, intertwining, and influencing each other, and changing a little bit their relationship with maternity. It's little changes because of course it's big matters. You don't go out of a violent motherhood in like this, but
Mhm.
you can do little steps. And also to me it was important the fact the multiplicity of points of view, because I wanted to relate complexity. So also this was a kind of matter when I was writing the script. People asking me, "Oh, but don't you have a dominating point of view?" And I was saying always, "No, it's ideological. I want a multiple point of view."
Mhm.
Because it's such a complex situation, and also between the girls and the nuns, I didn't want to have like someone that was completely right, and
Mhm.
because it's not like this. I mean, if you think about the scene of when Lou comes back to the convent and the nuns tell her she has to go away, you can understand both sides because both are right.
Mhm.
You can blame the nuns for saying this because of course they are protecting children and say it's not, that was not fair. But then if you think profound in a profound way, you realize Lou is a child herself. Who is protecting that other child? You
Mhm.
know, like so. It to me it was to stay there, to stay an invitation in a world, a radical invitation to stay there and really feel all its complexity, because like during research you really encounter a lot of people who have a lot of prejudices about, for example, teen
Really.
moms. Oh, teen moms are all like uh, poor and sinny, and like and it's not it's not like this. It's more complex. It's like really a complex world made of a lot of causes and consequences and other causes you didn't think at the first
Mhm.
level. So that was to work like this with characters was also an ideological position.
Yes. Okay. Um, I really want to thank you, Maura, for this interview, and I think you really succeeded in showing us all the complexities of maternity, and I want to thank you as well for inviting us in this closed world. I really enjoyed the film. I hope the other viewers in Belgium at Move Festival did too. And good luck with the rest of the movie. Are you planning on touring, or are you working on other projects right now?
Yes. First of all, thank you to you for inviting me in the festival. Yes, I'm writing another project. I'm in this difficult and beautiful process of writing with all these questions about characters and weights of the characters, but it's a beautiful moment also. So
Is it again about motherhood, or is it something about something else?
There is motherhood, but it's interesting because if you at the first level you would say it's a completely different film. And then if you go deep, you recognize there is Maura there. like I'm still there. But it's like this, you always write about you. It's a process.
Okay, I'm very much looking forward to seeing that film. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Ciao. Thank you.
Bye.